G'day and welcome with the Inforunners. I'm Execute and we're slumming it today, me and Algared, with DaddyLemmon. How you doing, Algared and DaddyLemmon?
Oh, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
So, Daddy, you're a fellow Australian, and so we thought we'd just rough it today in the dressing gowns. But tell us a little bit about your fleet currently and what you're looking to do in the game, and then we'll show people the fleet that you have, and we'll go from there. So, tell us a little bit about your fleet currently.
So the fleet currently is pretty much a lot of base ships for LTI tokens to move up in CCU chains. I want to experience everything in the game, really, except for maybe not data running is probably the only thing that I don't really want to experience. But yeah, currently it's effectively Prospector, Saber, Apollo, Medivac, Crucible, Perseus, Carrack, Endeavour, Vulcan, Corsair, Freelance, Miz,
We'll have a look at it in a minute, but I'm more kind of interested in what you wanted to do in the game as well. So tell me a little bit. So things like you said you didn't want to do data running, but what do you want to do?
So I enjoy mining with fellow org or even just random people in the game. Combat, especially, I'm really interested in what they're going to do with stealth, and so sleuthing and getting in with your stealth ship into other people's org areas and gathering intel and then taking it back to your org and all that sort of stuff is really cool to me. I think that medical gameplay will be cool, and then I think everything will just be generally cool. So repairing, gathering, ships up. Yeah, I don't know, everything.
Saint Nick, you got any questions for him?
No, I think he actually answered that. It was what things you're interested in, what do you want to do, and I know you said you like the mining. That's not something you really your bread and butter thing, is it? It's just something you're enjoying doing at the moment, and it's probably also the most developed gameplay loop. So it's a bit hard to say, oh, it's not your favorite, because it's something you can do.
Yeah, definitely one of the current top tier loops in the game.
Yeah, and I can see that medical gameplay and those other things. I'm looking forward to those coming in line, and I know you've been back in the game for the dim dark days, because I know you were at PAX 2014 when they were doing, when Star Citizen was in Australia, and we all three were there, and I don't think we ran across each other.
No.
Actually, I did run into Algared, but I didn't know who he was back then. But you were like letting people, the barbecue, the VIP barbecue.
That's right.
I've still got this Algared. Do you remember giving out these?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you gave me this. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably did.
Anyway. Yeah, and you were sitting there with Revik on the opening door. That's where I remember you from. Anyway.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun though.
You were sitting at a table that was out the front.
Yep.
Anyway, so I digress because we've completely gone off topic here. But anyway, so yeah, what was your thought process with all these Tumbril tanks? Tumbril cyclones. What am I saying? Yeah,
Cyclones.
What are they saying? You got a lot of vehicles.
So these ground vehicles are all LTI tokens.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they are.
Okay.
They're the kickoff.
Yep.
Prospector.
Yeah, as we were saying, mining is currently the best loop in game, so that's what I take out mining currently.
Right.
Saber, because it's my fighter currently. It's and it's going to be hopefully a really good stealth ship.
Right.
Cutlass Black is an LTI token as well.
Yeah. Keep going, Redeemer.
The Redeemer is part of my original backer, and I think the Redeemer is going to be really cool. So that's a Kickstarter package, original Kickstarter package, that's been upgraded from.
Yeah, I got mine there somewhere too. My original one. Miss or Misery.
Freelancer Miz, love me a good gunboat, and the Freelancer Miz is currently the best gunboat. It's a monster in game. Vulcan, well,
Yeah,
single
the
player,
Argo Vulcan. Yep. Tell me all about that.
single player repair refuel. That was just like I was thinking that would be good to cover me when that eventually comes out. Corsair, I wanted some type of exploration, so I thought, oh, I'll just grab that whilst it's available. Yeah. MSR, I got sort of stuck in the hype with the MSR.
I think everyone did.
I think it's nice, and it would let me try data running at the end of the day, but yeah. Retaliator, I think this
is a Retaliator bomber specifically. Yes,
it is. Yep. That's the first ship I loaded up in the hangar. Do you remember the days when you could only load a hangar and load a ship in it?
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it back then. So that's an original Kickstarter ship as well that I backed.
What the?
And I've been a fan of it ever since. And that's a Banu Merchantman.
I don't know how I didn't even click.
Favorites.
It didn't even click. It just did it on its own. Banu Merchantman.
Last year's Fleet Week, which is coming up, I got that at the stupid CCU chain that they sort of stuffed up, and you could get it for like you could get it for $275. So I was like, I did one of those chains and got me a BMM.
Did you hear that from us, or did you hear that from someone else? I'm just curious.
I heard it from you, and I think I found it at the same time on the Star Citizen Reddit page. Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is the fleet that you are proposing your final fleet to be. So let's go through that. So you're going to go from what you had there to this. The ships that you've already mentioned, I'm just going to double check. So the first one I believe is the Medivac, the Apollo. So tell us about the Apollo. What do you want to do with that?
So yeah, medical gameplay sounds great. And I really like the design of the Apollo ships. I think they're pretty wicked. So I thought I'd grab one of those.
Yeah.
We skip up to the Crucible. I purchased that after watching you gents. It's just repairing for everybody at a larger scale. Perseus, I love the idea of a massive gunship. Like, give me massive cannons, blow stuff up. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing one of them as soon as I saw that. It's a CCU though, so yeah, didn't want to spend the big money on it. I just got the CCU. And then the Carrack, I've got CCU chain to that. I do like the ship a lot. So yeah, it's a pretty cool ship. And then the Endeavour, I also purchased that after watching you guys. So it's pretty much the ultimate ship from what you guys say. And I think I agree. Yeah,
for the price. Yeah, for the price.
For the price. Yeah.
And the amount of gameplay loops that it's going to offer just from the modules you'll be able to attach to it.
Yeah, it covers everything. Yeah.
And I think the fact that CIG have said they're building it last kind of gives you that idea. It's going to be that all-encompassing ship that can do, depending on how you configure it, pretty much everything. Bar maybe mining and salvage.
Yeah. So Algared, I was about to start in the middle, but I think just with what you mentioned there, we'll start at the top. So you mentioned mining to me and Algared, and so me and Algared naturally. The other thing we do need to point out to it is there's $500 worth of credits, US dollars credits that he has sitting around, right? We do need to mention that. And when we all so we took those and melded the ships that we thought were no good because they're all in single packages. So this is a really good modular, clay-like one that we can play around with. And you got the sale coming up next week, so now's a great time to melt and extract and get some savings and some CCU chains. And
the other thing is, of course, they're all individual melting ships, and it basically puts them into storage. And so, melt it. I really decided I want to unmelt it. No problem. Whereas if it was a pack, that's when you start to have those problems. But this, it's just, as long as you don't CCU the ship, you can melt it and unmelt it with ease, and that's a blessing.
So most of the ships we looked at too only had a $5 to $10 loss or saving. The only exception to that was the MSR, which I believe you got for about $205, and it's currently worth $260. So most of the others will either be melted or CCU'd up. It doesn't really matter because $5 really doesn't matter. But this one here is definitely going to be upgraded to something else. Now he specifically mentioned that he didn't like data running. He hasn't explored.
Like, why have you got?
Yeah, why have you got this?
It's
And
the hype.
the only other function of the MSR is smuggling, and the best smuggler in the game is sitting right next to it. So this is 100% on the fucking chopping block. The other thing was the Corsair, which is one of the worst daily drivers you can get. So me and Algared just looked at this, chopped both of these, so to speak, and turned this into a caterpillar. That's where we went with that, because then you still retain your smuggling in the Retaliator. The other thing with the Retaliator, he's currently got a bomber version. If he wants, again, get the base version for $150. You get the bomber as a loaner and just earn the module in game. It's so to the point that you can get 2 base versions for 1 bomber version. There's no way a module is going to be worth a bomber. Just isn't happening. And so just get the base version and earn it in game. Again, having all these bigger ships, you can earn that module so quickly it's not funny.
The only caveat to that is depending on how available they make that bomber module, because that is one of the things they did kind of hint at. But the bomber module was set, and it was a military version, whereas the base was the one where you put all the other modules in. So getting that bomber variant or that bomber module might be difficult in game, but it's certainly available.
And but they do definitely play FOMO with a lot of that stuff, Algared. There's no way to be certain. Yes, there are going to be certain things that are harder to get, but we've got no way of knowing in so many different criteria. So, again, you've got to play that generalized budget advice. The thing is, you can get it in the game for free. It might just take a little bit extra time.
I think the way in which it'll be difficult will be not in terms of price. I think the price will be, and I think it'll be reputation that counts.
Agreed.
So, but it might take you a while.
Being an Aegis ship, I think it'll be a lot easier to get than, say, an alien ship or you knew what I'm trying to say. And Aegis is a fairly standard common manufacturer.
I know what you're saying. But like I said, I think you've still got to say it. You know, that bomber module might be harder to get. It's more likely, in my opinion, going to be reputation based. I think the price of it again is going to be fairly cheap compared to.
All right, let's move on then, because we're going in circles here now. So this is the final fleet that we went to. So I'm going to kind of go through, and I just wanted to explain that one because why some of the ships were disappearing. All the little ones kind of make sense, but I specifically wanted to go through those two because they were right in the middle. The other one that obviously disappears is the Perseus. So I'll explain that real quickly. That becomes a Polaris. And then, as we said, the MSR turns into a Caterpillar. Algared, do you want to explain the Orion? I think that's a pretty easy one, yeah?
Orion, very simply, it's the top-end mining ship. You like mining. It does have a larger crew, but based on the fact that you already were looking at a Carrack, you already were looking at a Crucible, you're already looking at a BMM, you're already looking at an Endeavour and a Retaliator. They're all big cruise ships. The Orion has roughly that size crew. The advantage of the Orion is that it gives you both the mole and the prospector to use in game at the moment, and so you've got that availability where you can still play with the ships. The Orion comes out, you play it, you do decide it's too big, you can always melt it and get those mole or prospector back. So it's a win-win in my opinion.
The other one we chucked in there was the Reclaimer, because that pairs extremely well with the Crucible that he already had. He was a little bit hesitant with this one, but we kind of explained how these are mirrors of each other, and the Reclaimer definitely feeds the Crucible, so they're going to work hand in hand really well.
And you were also saying you like the exploration aspect, and one of the things that they have talked about in terms of Reclaimers and salvage is the fact that you get to a wreck, you're going to have to go and explore it. And so exploration isn't just finding jump points. It is finding interesting points and checking out interesting points, or going and finding out what happened at a wreck site, or encountering the Xeno threats or whatever the Xeno thing is in in the ship. And so that gives you that exploration downplay. And always remember when they built the Reclaimer, they were thinking aliens. And so you've got that idea. There are going to be aliens that you encounter when you're salvaging. I think it's just one of those things that at the back of their mind, they've got, we've got to have that alien. We've got to have that jump out and get you type thing. So, yeah.
And then after we'd done all that, we had this is when we found out we had $500 credit left over. And I sat there for a minute, and then I proposed the Nautilus to Algared. Now that means he's got to put in an extra $200, but the other option here is the Mercury Star-Runner has the Apollo has a $205 melt value. So if he doesn't want to put extra cash in, he could technically melt that because he does have the Endeavour, which can do the medical gameplay through the Hope. And he could add that and get the Nautilus, or he can put an extra $200 in himself and get the Nautilus. But the reason we recommend that so highly is you've got all those industry ships, and they obviously cover it very, very well. Anything you want to add there, Algared?
I think that pretty much sums up one of the things that, as I was saying before the show, one of the things I try to look for if I'm suggesting bigger ships to people or looking at modifying the fleet is look at what the loaner ships are for those bigger ships as well. And because like with the Orion, you get the Orion, you've actually still got access to that mole and the Prospector. You look at the Endeavour, it gives you currently the Caterpillar and a Cutlass Red to use. So even if you do melt your Apollo, you've still got a medical gameplay ship until the Endeavour comes online.
You can even cheat with some of them, Algared, like the Retaliator base gives you the bomber right now.
Yeah.
As an
example. So the Retaliator base saves your money, but it gives you a bomber to use at the moment. And so there's some of the things you can consider and look at when you're making that when you're trying to decide, do I go this big ship? In some cases, it's not even a case of do I go for this big ship, and do I earn down? It can be a matter of, well, if I get that ship now, I can always melt it and it's in storage. But while I've got it in my fleet, I've got access to the loaner ships, and that's if you're thinking that play now, play later, that's something I think worth considering. Get two ships or one ship, or other ships you want to try for that cheaper price.
All right, Lemon. You're happy with how that all turned out? And
yeah, it's amazing, well-rounded fleet. I do like the look of it.
And it's poignant timing with the sale just around the corner. You'll definitely be able to pick up some CCUs at the very least. And obviously, we heard about the Scorpius, and there might even be more ships on the horizon as well. So if you don't like some of the things we've suggested or whatever, you could always, for example, let's just take that Nautilus. You could not get the Nautilus and wait for another ship to come out that takes your fancy, or the Reclaimer that you're worried about, or anything like that. So you still have time. I think that's the other thing. That there's still going to be a couple of years before all the ships are set in stone.
Yeah.
Or you even buy those big ships, melt them, and then play around for credits as other things come out, and add them to your melt pile, and then make decisions closer to the date.
Yeah, or pick up CCUs to lock in that price from a ship that's been released or something like that. There's another way you could do it. So if you want to, say the Orion, pick up something from, say, like the Carrack to the Orion. Oh, no, the Carrack's above. You have to pick something below. But you get what I'm trying to say. You pick something that's a stable ship that's already released to the Orion, and you lock in that price. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then. I just realised I didn't do this at the start of the show, so I'm going to do it now. Hashtag Jaden in the comments if you want to leave any thoughts or comments below. Let us know what you think of Lemon's fleet and your thoughts, recommendations, and stuff like that. Your thoughts on the fleet and things like that. Unfortunately, Eric Lanza passed away, and his mate is looking for a new home for his former ship.
And a
if you like what we do here, please give us a like or subscribe, or even a dislike if you don't like this type of content. Let us know. If you really like what we do, consider following us on Patreon. Is there anything else you want to chuck in there, Algared?
Leave comments. Remember to be respectful. Join us on Discord. We're always willing to chat, and there's plenty of people there who are also willing to chat and share their thoughts and views and tell us that we're wrong or or whatever. But yeah, if you like what we do, hit us up. If you want help, hit us up in Discord. we're always
Definitely.
willing to.
Definitely with the sale coming out, jump into the Fix My Fleet channel on our Discord, or and the people there, if they think it's worthy, they'll chuck it up our way, and we do get ones coming up more often than not. If you do want us specifically, you can also PM us directly. Yeah. Okay. It looks like Algared and I are now ready for bed, Lemon, so we can just wrap it up here and go straight to bed. All right.
Yeah.
He's been Algared. He's been Lemon. I think we lost Algared, but that's fine. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, I'm back. Teleported.